What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill. Jay Miller, if you like. So let's get into it. So this week, since we're playing the Giants on Thursday, I'm not going to spend too much time going over my second watch of the Ravens film. I gave you guys pretty much the way I felt about it in the post game show. So if you want to take a look at what that was, just go back, click the previous episode. You'll be able to get all my thoughts and opinions on that. So today we're going to take a look at a little bit more condensed format. We'll spend most of our time on the Giants offense versus the Cowboys defense. At the end, I'll give you a little bit of the Cowboys offense versus the Giants defense, and then I'll pick that more up tomorrow, along with uh, you know predictions as far as who to watch for the game, and then my prediction of the score and the outcome, and then we'll see what happens. So it looks like, if you're asking me based on what I've seen from the Cowboys this season, I think they're going to actually have their hands full with this Giants team on Thursday. The Giants' offense of this year seems to be a little more troublesome as far as where the Cowboys are weak at and what kind of scheme they run, as opposed to what the Giants do. So, Malik Neighbors has been a beast so far this year. And Singletary has actually ran the ball pretty well this year. I even like what they do with Wandell Robinson. And of course with Daniel Jones running the ball. So that's where if I'm the coach and I'm game planning for the New York Giants, that's where my focal point is. They do have a nice rookie tight end. They do have Slayton still as well. But if I'm just focusing on the core of who I don't want to beat me, and let's make the offense go through everybody else, those guys are who I'm focusing on. So one of the things I noticed with watching the Giants against the Commanders as well as against the Browns this week, I do think the Cowboys are going to have a tough time with Singletary. Singletary has been to and through the hole very well. The Giants actually run him up the middle. They run him on both edges. They throw it to him in screens. So I think all the things that you've seen the Cowboys have trouble with as far as runs on the edges, not necessarily up the middle, but runs on the edges, I think they're going to continue to struggle with that this week. The only difference is I think Singletary can hit a home run up from you on you from anywhere on the field. So it's the Cowboys are going to have a little bit of a different back. Even though we did see Derrick Henry have the one long run in the second half for the touchdown last week, they're going to have a back that can have several long runs. He can have a 30-yard run, and then they take him out the game, give him a rest, bring him back in, another 20-yard run, another 30-yard run. You're going to have to get to this guy and tackle him. He actually is very good at making guys miss in the hole. In the hole. And what I mean in the hole is, they're running the ball up the middle. He's running it, behind his center and his two guards, and there's a sliver of space where the linebacker actually fills correctly and is there to make the tackle, and Singletary is able to make a move while in that small space to make that guy miss and then exploit that small space and get through to the second level and keep the run going. So even when you fill the gaps correctly and you're there in the hole to make the tackle, Eric Kendricks, Damari Van Overshown, Damone Clark, Maris Leofau, whoever you have to make sure that you wrap this guy up because he can still make moves on you even if it doesn't seem like there's a lot of space for him to make moves. I've seen him slip through the tiniest of cracks, whether it was on the edge or up the middle, and it looks like the play is dead in the water, and then boom, he's into the second level, and now it's like, what the hell just happened? Now this guy's actually still going, thought the play was going to be dead after 2 or 3 yards. He makes something out of nothing. It kind of makes you think back to the offseason when the Cowboys are like, 4 million. He's kind of expensive. We can't get that guy. Even though Ezekiel Elliott's on the books for $7.5 million right now. So I would like to have Singletary in our backfield because with the way our offensive line blocks and the way he's able to exploit small cracks, there's sometimes where our offensive line has big holes and our backs can't exploit it. So imagine a back like this. The other thing about Singletary is he has really good vision. He's very good at seeing the hole and getting to the hole. There's very few times where you see him run the wrong way. So if the play's blocked and there's a crack on this side and he's got to get to and through the hole, you very rarely find him cutting the ball back incorrectly or running to darkness instead of running to light. He has really good vision, which is, I mean, very underrated for a running back. So I do think Singletary is going to give the Cowboys fits this week. And if they're not very sound in their tackling, it's going to be another very big day by a running back. One of the other things I'm looking at is Malik Neighbors. So I would be pretty wary on playing the type of coverage that we played against the Saints and the Ravens. Now, this might just be a defensive philosophy of the Dallas Cowboys, but I do notice against the Saints and against the Ravens, the Cowboys are playing about 7 to 11 yards off the line of scrimmage and allowing free releases to those receivers and then basically trying to drive on the ball once our pass rush gets there. But the problem with the Cowboys right now is they're not good enough at run defense to force teams into obvious passing situations. So when they're lining up and they're playing off the, very far off the line, a lot of those teams are able to exploit us by running small crossing routes inside or slants or wide receiver smoke routes or, short out routes. Just little things to get the balls out to the receiver quickly, and then they're able to make plays, i.e. Chris Olave going over the middle or Flowers making that game-clinching play on Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs was lined up, shaded to the inside, and about 11 yards off. So when Flowers broke his route off to the corner, it was going to take an amazing feat of speed for Trayvon Diggs to be able to get there and make that play and maybe knock the ball down or punch the ball out. There was no way that was going to happen. So with the way Malik Neighbors plays and the way the Giants use Wan'Dale Robinson, I feel like the Cowboys should break philosophy this week and actually get up on these receivers and press them at the line of scrimmage. Now, maybe you don't want to have Kalen Carson pressing Malik Neighbors. Maybe you leave that job to Trayvon Diggs, and if it is a situation where Kalen Carson happens to be matched up on Malik Neighbors, I'm totally fine with him being lined up off, because one of the other things I've been watching with Malik Neighbors is after he catches the ball, I hope that they're watching this on film, he tends to go the opposite way, right? So if the action is running him across the field, from the offense's left to the offense's right, which would be the defense's right to the defense's left, right? If he gets that ball on the move and catches it, and he sees the flow of defense in front of him going to stop, he will stop on a dime and turn the opposite way and, exploit that open part of the field to gain an extra 5, 10, 15 yards after the catch. So the Cowboys are going to have to be very aware that, hey, man, if he gets you going hard and he catches that ball on the move to this side and he feels you, on him about to tackle him, he's going to put his foot in the ground and go the opposite way. And that's something that they need to be taking a look at, because there were several times against the Commanders, several times against the Browns that I observed him putting his foot in the ground and going the opposite way and gaining a ton of yards after catch. The other thing about Malik Neighbors is he has amazing body control. On the touchdown catch he had against the Cleveland Browns and in the top left pylon of the end zone, because the offense was going, on my screen, it was to the right instead of to the left. And Daniel Jones hit Malik Neighbors going to that top left pylon. And man, that man elevated, got the ball, but still was able to get his feet back down and bounce. So the guy has the uncanny ability to make acrobatic catches on the sideline. I've seen him a couple of times kind of drag his feet, sort of like Amari Cooper used to do when he used to get close to the sideline. Quarterback would throw the ball almost out of bounds where only his receiver could catch it. And, Malik Neighbors would keep his feet in bounds and then lean out of bounds and make the catch on the ball to keep drives alive. So that's going to be an added threat there that the Giants didn't necessarily have last year when we played them. Yes, they had Saquon Barkley, but that was pretty much all they had. That's all we had to key in on. We didn't really have to key in on anything else. With Malik Neighbors being on the field, they have a legit wide receiver threat, and that makes Daniel Jones more dangerous because you're going to be committing guys in the secondary. You're going to have to watch Malik Neighbors, and you're going to have to watch Singletary out on the edge. And you're going to have to watch Wan'Dale Robinson on the wide receiver screens. They run it almost like a tight end screen or almost like a running back screen where he'll come back, the offensive lineman will pull out, and then he'll get the ball on the screen, Robinson, and he'll take it up. Now, he hasn't really been a game breaker on those plays, but he has consistently gotten 7, 8, 9 yards, first downs on third down. So the Giants' offense is going to be a little bit more challenging with the edges for us with the wide receivers and with the running backs. And then with that running back, they're going to be challenging all up and down the line. And then you have the added element, which the Cowboys tend to have a problem with, of the running quarterback. And Daniel Jones can still pull it down. He can still get yards. I watched a couple of plays where he dropped back like he was going to pass, and then he just tucked the ball and ran. It was a designed run, but he followed everything to make the defense think he was going to pass, and then he took off and ran. And I know, Daniel Jones isn't Pat Mahomes and he isn't Lamar Jackson, but he still is dangerous with his legs. And it's going to be interesting with all these different things being thrown at the Cowboys if they're going to have their head in the game enough to also think about Daniel Jones. And that's going to come down to the defensive line, right? That's going to come down to Micah Parsons, Mozzie Smith, Osa Odigizua, and DeMarcus Lawrence, and then, Chauncey Golston and Marshawn Nealon and all those guys rotating in, Denzel Daxton. They're all going to have to be very aware of Daniel Jones pulling that ball down and going, because I don't know, with all the other commotion and all the other weapons that the Giants present, that the Cowboys are going to necessarily be able to commit a spy to Daniel Jones. So I do see this is not the Giants offense of the last couple of years where, they're super easy to figure out and they don't have many weapons on the outside. And so all you have to do is key in on Saquon Barkley and the game is over. I'm not necessarily saying I'm picking the Cowboys to lose. I ain't saying I'm picking them to win either. But I'm saying if as Cowboys fans, you're taking a look at this and going, this is the same Giants team that we've been facing and dominating for years, and their offense can't do anything because Daniel Jones sucks. Throw that out the window. That is not what you're going to get this Thursday. Now, it could be very possible that they're on a short week and they're a little bit banged up and they're a little bit tired, and you might get a lackluster effort, but they are going to be at home. So I don't expect that. If you're hoping for just lackluster effort and that's the way you're going to win, then I hope you're not in the same frame of mind as the Cowboys. I hope the Cowboys are really taking this serious and really game planning, because they could go out there Thursday and get their ass kicked. Now, I did say towards the end I was going to touch a little bit on the defense. So just a little quick overview. I'm not going to go too in detail like I was just doing on the offense, but basically, bottom line, Cowboys should be able to get both their passing game and their running game going this week. So there's a lot of similarities I see to the Giants defense and the Cowboys defense, at least the way they're playing right now. The Giants give up a lot in the running game, and they look like they are totally interested in rushing the passer and not interested in playing the run at all. There's going to be tons of holes to expose. Now, do the Cowboys have a Ford? Do the Cowboys have a Robinson? Do the Cowboys have an Austin Eckler? No, they do not. They don't have any of those types of running backs to be able to exploit certain things. But I do think Rico Dowdle showed some things last week against a stout Baltimore Ravens front. And I think if the game was closer, the Cowboys would have ran the ball more and Rico would have continued to have success. But alas, that didn't happen. I do think the game will be closer this week, although I've said that the last 2 weeks and I've been completely wrong. But it does look like Rico Dowdle will be able to get some things going in the running game. The way the Giants play coverage, they allow free releases. They do not get up and press you. So I do believe CeeDee Lamb and those guys should be able to have a good game. And also they love to blitz a lot and they don't disguise it well at all. So Dak Prescott should be able to read things at the line of scrimmage. But I'll get more into the individual matchups and who I'm worried about tomorrow. But thank you guys for tuning in. That's all I got for you right now. You can follow me on Twitter at JMillerIYL. That's JMiller if you like. You can also hit me up email. That's knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. Again, knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. You can leave comments below on things you want me to cover or questions you might have. I'll take them there. I'll take them on Twitter. I'll take them on email. Put them into a mailbag format, make it a regular segment. But thank you guys. Love you guys so much. We got to 20 subscribers. So thank you guys. The next goal is 30. So if you're, listening to the show, you like what you hear, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you know when I'm coming in. But thank you guys for tuning in. Love you so much. Until next time, this has been Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, J Mill. J Miller if you like. Peace.